The NASCAR world is buzzing after what went down at Texas Motor Speedway on Sunday, May 3rd. Kyle Busch and John Hunter Nemechek got into it with just 2 laps to go, and the fallout is bigger than you might think. This wasn't just a racing incident. This was personal, this was controversial, and it might cost Kyle Busch more than just a bad finish. Let's start with the setup. Sunday's worth 400 at Texas was supposed to be a fresh start for Kyle Busch. Just days before the race, Richard Childress Racing made a major crew chief change. Jim Pullman was out after just 10 races, and Andy Street was in. This was Street's first race atop the pit box as Kyle Busch's crew chief, and honestly, things were looking pretty good for most of the day. In his post-race interview, Andy Street talked about how the car performed. They had a good car to start, got a little too tight in stages 1 and 2, but freed it up for stage 3. Street said they were running around 8th, 9th, 10th place for much of the race. Solid positions for a team that's been struggling all season. Remember, Kyle Busch came into Texas ranked 27th in the Cup Series standings. A top 10 finish would have been huge. But then came that late caution. Street explained they made a pit call to get fresh tires, hoping to make up some ground. On that final restart, Busch was making moves, got stuck behind the number 3 car for a couple laps, then started charging again, trying to pick up positions, and that's when everything went wrong. Street said in the interview, and this is interesting, he said he wasn't really sure what happened off turn 2. He'd have to go back and look at it. But then the reporter asked him about the contact between the 8th car and the 42 car, Kyle Busch and John Hunter Nemechek. Street's response? I saw what was on SMT, but I don't know. I just got to go back and look at that. SMT is NASCAR's timing and scoring system. Basically the data and telemetry that shows exactly where cars are on track, their speeds, and their positions relative to each other. So Street was saying he saw the data, but he wasn't commenting on what actually happened.
It was good. Really proud of all of our guys. Got him a good car to start the race here, and as we went, we just got a little too tight in the first 2 stages as we went, so we couldn't complete the corner like we would like to. But yeah, we got it freed up towards the 3rd stage. I thought we were good. We just lost so much track position at that point. You know, we kind of fell back to running that 8th to 10th to 11th place spot there. At that point, there wasn't enough cautions to try to make up anything, so we were just kind of stuck back there. That last restart, I think we started to make some moves, got around a few people. Yeah, kind of got hung behind the 3 for a couple laps there, and then went up and was trying to make some spots up. And I'm not real sure what happened off of 2, to be honest with you. Look at that.
Did you see anything from your vantage point about the contact with the 8 and 42?
No, I don't know anything about it, what happened. I got to go back and watch it. I mean, I saw what was on SMT, but I don't know. I just got to go back and look at that.
But here's what actually went down. With 2 laps to go, lap 266 of 267, Kyle Busch and John Hunter Nemechek were fighting for around 12th or 13th place. Not for the win. Not even for a top 10. They were battling mid-pack, which makes what happened next even more controversial. Coming off turn 2 onto the backstretch, Busch and Nemechek were running side by side. Busch thought he had cleared Nemechek and started coming down to take the racing line. The problem is, he wasn't fully clear. The 2 cars made contact and both of them got shoved into the outside wall. Both drivers straightened their cars out and kept going. But here's where it gets really messy. As they entered turn 3, Kyle Busch's car suddenly turned hard right and door slammed John Hunter Nemechek. We're talking about a deliberate move at 180 miles per hour. Nemechek got sent up the banking and smashed hard into the outside wall. His right side was destroyed. The damage was so bad that Nemechek had to limp his car to pit road while the race finished under green. On Nemechek's radio, you could hear him asking, why did he do that? And honestly, a lot of people were asking the same question. When the checkered flag flew, Kyle Busch finished 20th, dead last on the lead lap. John Hunter Nemechek finished 21st, 1 lap down. A promising day for both drivers was completely ruined by those final 2 laps. Now, Kyle Busch didn't talk to the media in person after the race. He gave a brief quote to Richard Childress Racing, saying it was disappointing to have some damage to the car, but they were making steps in the right direction. Standard PR speak. But then he went to social media, and that's where things got spicy. Busch posted screenshots and a video of SMT data, that same system Andy Street mentioned in his interview. Along with the data, Kyle wrote, "I did not start this." The 42 apparently doesn't know where the RS of his car is and where he is in relation to the outside wall. There was 2 feet outside him, and I was judging my left side tires to the hash marks. Always know who you're racing beside. And he added an angry emoji at the end. So Kyle's defense is that John Hunter didn't know where his car was, that there were 2 feet of room outside him, and that the initial contact was Nemechek's fault. He's basically saying, he started it, I finished it. John Hunter Nemechek had a much simpler response on social media. He wrote, "Not freaking clear, great day going, and just got wrecked. What an ass." Short, direct, angry, you can't blame him. Nemechek was having his best run of the 2026 season, potentially a career best Cup Series finish, and it got taken away with 1 lap to go by a driver who clearly turned into him on purpose in turn 3. And here's what makes this situation even more loaded with drama. John Hunter Nemechek isn't just some random driver to Kyle Busch. Nemechek drove for Kyle Busch Motorsports in the Truck Series in 2021 and 2022. He won 7 races driving for Kyle's team. They have history. They have a relationship. Or they had one. So when Kyle Busch wrecks his former driver, someone he gave opportunities to, someone he helped build a career, it hits different. This isn't just competitor against competitor. There's a personal element here that makes the whole thing more complicated. Now let's talk about what could happen next. NASCAR has made it very clear in recent years that they don't tolerate drivers intentionally wrecking each other. They've handed out suspensions for this exact kind of thing. In 2022, Bubba Wallace was suspended for 1 race after right-hooking Kyle Larson at Las Vegas. In 2023, Chase Elliott was suspended for 1 race after right-hooking Denny Hamlin at Charlotte. In 2025, Austin Cindric got a $50,000 fine and a 50-point penalty for hooking Ty Dillon at Circuit of the Americas. The pattern is clear. If NASCAR thinks you deliberately wrecked someone, there are consequences. And watching the replay of Kyle Busch's move in turn 3, it's hard to argue it was accidental. His car made a sharp right turn directly into Nemechek's door at high speed. The first contact on the backstretch, you could call that a racing deal, both guys fighting for position, but the second hit, that looked intentional. NASCAR typically announces penalties on Tuesday or Wednesday after a race, so by the time you're watching this, we might already know if Kyle Busch is getting suspended for next weekend's race at Watkins Glen. And if he does get parked for a week, it would be absolutely devastating for his season. Kyle Busch is already in a massive hole. He's 27th in points. He hasn't won a Cup Series race since June 2023, almost 3 years ago. He's in a contract year with Richard Childress Racing, which means his future beyond 2026 is completely uncertain. And now in his first race with his new crew chief Andy Street, a race where they actually had decent speed and were on track for maybe an 8th or 9th place finish, he threw it all away with a moment of frustration. If you want to stay updated on whether NASCAR suspends Kyle Busch and all the latest NASCAR drama as it unfolds, hit that subscribe button right now.